And of course, we back, Brink TV, #1 music and entertainment TV show in Memphis, and I'm your host, Young Brink. Now, joining me is a familiar face to the Brink TV show. I'm talking about my friend and yours, Bill Perry. What's going on with you, man?
Not much, man. What's going on with you, Brink?
Hey, of course, I got to say thank you for coming back to the Brink TV show. Really means a lot to us here at Brink TV.
No doubt, man. I love being on the show, man. This is great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let's go ahead and talk about a couple of the reasons why you're here tonight.
Well, tonight I'd like to talk about, first and foremost, the new album that I have out with my boy Demetrius Brown.
Definitely,
no doubt, a.k.a. Heck for Show. And we came out with a hip-hop album in November of last year called David v. Goliath,
Right.
Volume 1, The Epiphany.
Okay.
And it's a concept hip-hop album. It's like a mix of jazz, southern hip-hop, and other elements. There's all kind of different elements in it. And essentially what inspired the album was, all the hot topics last year going on, and in particular with the black community. The thing that resonated with the black community was the police brutality situations.
Right. Absolutely.
Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, Freddie Gray, so on. I can keep name dropping all day, all these different circumstances. And there was a lot of heated debate on social media about this. And myself and Demetrius, we got into a couple of, conversations in light of these situations. And Demetrius in particular, he would just go ham.
Right. Definitely.
And we get into a lot of heated debates about it. But essentially, what I told him was like, man, let's turn this into art.
Right.
Let's convey this into art. And we took a concept where it was actually his idea. It was like, well, how about we take the concept, since we're struggling with brotherhood right now.
Right.
How about we take, the two from biblical times that had tryst, David and Goliath, and it's like, what if they were actually friends and they came together and put it in a modern context?
Right.
So the story follows these two particular individuals, and it's just like a regular situation. They go about their day. And in the middle of their journey, they end up in the middle of a riot.
Right.
And the album is riddled with skits. It has skits here in between that kind of sets up the next song and everything, and it's all cohesive. You listen to the whole album all together, and it plays out like that. And in light of that kind of being a trend, in particular in popular music, seeing what Kendrick Lamar did
exactly
to Pimp a Butterfly,
exactly.
And J. Cole and all these other artists that had conceptualized ideas, it was just like we were on the right path.
Exactly.
And we were real confident about what we did. So, like I said, we put the album out, and I did the music production with, like I said, I added jazz and hip hop. We recorded it at Push Button Studios with Matt Chambly. And released it on iTunes and about 30 other networks. And then Demetrius, he wrote all his lyrics. He didn't have any ghostwriters.
Right, of course not.
Yeah, what I'm saying? He did it all himself. So yeah.
And I definitely admire that idea because you did mention Kendrick Lamar, you did mention J. Cole. I haven't heard very much artistry like that from the South. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's dope that you guys did that, because it's almost like you guys are setting the tone for Southern MCs, to take it to the next level. Because, we can hear it on the West Coast, we can hear it on the East Coast, but how likely are we to hear it from here? Big Crit, of course, somebody like that would do it.
Definitely.
He would do something like that. But I admire hearing that sound coming from you guys.
Well, I appreciate that. And, that was another thing that we wanted to focus on. I remember Demetrius, when we would have these conversations, that was one of the things that he would point out. He's like, man, this is an unlikely Southern hip-hop album.
Exactly.
And for better or for worse, this is just how, we felt compelled to just come out with this kind of album, and then really kind of start scoping it out and looking at how, there's not a lot of albums like this coming out of the South.
Right.
And not that we're purposely trying to set any trends or anything.
Of course,
it's just an artistic expression.
Right.
But and there are those in the underground that are that have albums like that are conceptualized, and they're just not blown up in the mainstream. There are those that are doing that.
Right.
And but for ourselves, we're very proud of our effort.
Definitely. Now, it's another thing you have going on. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Bill Perry versus Dawn Breakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me and my boy Brad Anderson. And he's what they call an electronic hip-hop artist. Okay. That's more related to the EDM world, or the electronic digital music world.
Gotcha.
And, he spins electronic beats, hip-hop beats and stuff, and then I throw jazz stuff and some other synthesizer stuff on top of that.
Okay.
And like, yeah, we're a new mesh. We just, we debuted and stuff here almost a month ago, and, it stuck real good with the people, and we began to get buzz with it, so we're trying to keep that momentum going. And as a matter of fact, I was just hanging out with him a couple of days ago, conceptualizing an EP concept that we're going to do, which will eventually broaden into another live show concept. And that's just a real fun thing to just kind of just open up the medium for me. Like, I've worked with, like, I'm a jazz guy, as well. At least I like to call myself that.
Oh, of course you are. Believe me, you are. You definitely are.
So I play with a lot of different jazz type of situations, from funk jazz to straight ahead, and even hip hop jazz with the fade to black situation. But with this, I had never really just gotten a chance, not in a while anyway, to work with like these electronic artists and seeing what they're doing, and just trying to align myself with that world. I got friends in that world, but I'm just now kind of trying to make my mark in that particular area. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. And of course, as I said before, about when it comes to mellowing out after I get out work, man, I definitely gotta play some of your music when you get on, Facebook. And I watch your videos. Go ahead and tell the people your Facebook that way they can check it out as well.
I'm on Facebook.com/Bill Perry Jr. And also on Facebook, I have a music page, which is, the same thing, Facebook.com/Bill Perry Project. And I also have a funk jazz trio called simply Bill Perry Trio, and that's also on Facebook, Bill Perry Trio at Facebook.
David V. Goliath has a page as well.
Oh, yeah, and David V. Goliath also has a page, which is simply as such, David V. Goliath on Facebook. So check that out. There's links to our album on that page and whatnot. And give us a like.
Definitely. And of course, I also understand that you also teach music. Is that correct?
Yeah. I teach music at this place called Roxford University. It's a music education program for kids to develop them to play in live settings.
Right.
And it's ran by this cat, Tad Wilkes. Shout out to my boy Tad. And he's got a few of us musicians there in the area working there, teaching kids between the ages of like 7 to 18 or so.
Right.
Teaching them, fundamentals about performing live, giving them some, surface music theory knowledge and stuff. Not really trying to be overbearing with the sheet music stuff and whatnot, but definitely teaching them how to play in an ensemble, in a setting of other musicians and stuff and what have you. It's a fun time, and they all have their various levels and stuff. And the culminating thing that they orchestrate at the school there is by the end of the semester, which is about a 3-4 month situation. They orchestrate a live performance with the kids in one of the local venues there. And last year was at our biggest venue, the Lyric, and the kids did great there.
It's got to be a humbling experience working with children, right?
Oh yeah. It reminds you of where you were when you were, when music was like, oh man, this sound, not even thinking about all the other whatnots, who's this and who's that and who's whatever. It's just I like this music, before you start, getting your opinions about things.
The innocence of it.
The innocence. Oh man, and it, I hear these kids who are like 7 and 8. One of my students, his favorite song of all time, this kid is like 11 years old, is "Lean on Me" by Bill Withers.
Wow, really?
His favorite song of all time, and I'm just like,
we thinking, what do you know about? But that's
and then
cool.
At the same time, it's like that's beautiful. I mean, it's like, here's a kid who obviously would be hip to the most modern music that's out there and stuff, and he still has that appreciation for something like that, and he's not caught up in what is cool or what his friends like and all that kind of stuff just yet. Hopefully it won't happen to him. But it's just the purity of the innocence of
you know what, I tell you what's a phrase that I really don't like when I might be talking to an older individual and they say, maybe a song will be on that I like, an older song. And then they be like, you don't know what you listening to. I'm like, you never gave me a chance. You don't know how broad my range is when it comes to music,
I think with a lot of older people is they it's like they like to make the connection through a generational perspective. And if you wasn't a part of a certain era, because I'm starting to see it happen with our generation, and as certain things pass along, looking back, like nowadays, looking back 5 years, and and people are like, oh, that particular album, by Jay-Z is dated or this or whatever have you, and all these people are still relevant. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of music and the passage of time and what remains constant. And your perspective on it, changes as well. But, like I said, working with kids, it keeps you humble on, like, just appreciate the music, in the end, yeah.